Hello and welcome to this week's conversation with Middle East Monitor. Everyone, my name is Anjuman Rahman and I'll be hosting this conversation with Hassan Kontar. Welcome Hassan and thank you for your time to join us today.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so Hassan is a Syrian refugee who made headlines in 2018 after he was stranded in Malaysia's international airport for up to 7 months. And it's an experience which he documented and later became an author of Man at the Airport, How Social Media Saved My Life, One Syrian Story. But last month, Hassan, you received the Canadian citizenship. So congratulations to you. That was heartwarming news to hear.
Thank you.
But Hassan, also, it hasn't been easy. It's been a roller coaster of an experience, and you've been forced, like millions of other Syrians, you've been forced to flee your home in war-torn Syria. I researched that you were originally from Asweda in Syria. That's where you spent your childhood. And so maybe tell us a bit about your childhood, introduce yourself and tell us about your childhood and of your experiences from there.
Well, exactly as you said, it's the story of millions of Syrians, and that's what Syria used to be before the war. It used to be a civilized, peaceful, quiet place where people were into farms, education, and skills worker. We were a family of five, and middle level family with a father who's used to be a mechanical engineer, a nursing mother who used to be a nurse. The three of us are children, are educated with a university degree. We had a farm, an olive farms. We used to work during the weekends, while during the week we go to schools, universities, or do some more. So it was peaceful. The time was not and not that important. Life was simple, with people just trying to survive or to build a future. Syria, however, even before the war, it was not a place for dreamers, for people who want to achieve something in their life, financially or otherwise. Like a lot of Syrian youth, they emigrated. They travel normally to the Gulf Peninsula, where they can find a job and start building their future. So that was my life as a child. I have another brother and one sister who is older than me. The last time I saw Syria, I visited Syria and saw my family was late 2008. So now it's almost 15 years, and a lot happened during that time.
Yeah, a lot, more than a lot. You've been through one heck of a journey, but how did it end up with you being in an airport? I mean, we hear Syrian refugee stories, and they either stranded at borders or refugee camps and so on. You ended up in an airport, but I believe you were in the UAE for 11 years before you end up in the airport. So how did you ultimately decide the airport is where I'm going to stay, and what was your thought process? Or you were left with no choice?
Yeah, I did not decide the airport. The system decided for me. Others who were fighting for power decided for me. I was in no control of my own destiny. I did not choose to stay at the airport, but I was running out of option. I tried everything. So when I left Syria for the first time, it was 2006. I left to United Arab Emirates and I started working as an insurance marketing there until 2011 when the Syrian war started. I refused to join the army, so I lost my work permit because I could not renew my passport. So from that time, 2011, I became illegal immigrant. I spent years being homeless, jobless, and after that they detained me and they deported me to Malaysia, as it is one of a few countries who accept Syrians on arrival visa for 3 months. After that, I tried to leave to Ecuador, because in the refugee world, we have something called the 1951 Refugee Convention, which a refugee can seek asylum in the signatory countries. Malaysia, unfortunately, was not one of the signatory of the convention. So I tried Ecuador, but I could not. Turkish Airlines did not allow me to board because of my nationality. Again, I tried Cambodia, but they did not accept my entry, and they sent me back to Malaysia. And that's when I found myself without any other option, and I stuck at there.
How did you survive? Like, how did you come to accept it yourself that this is your situation? And
I knew that I'm in a deep, serious trouble, and I knew that at that time that the only reasonable solution is to send me back to Syria, where I have no idea what's going to happen there because I'm wanted. So I decided to fight back and not to accept it. The minute I found a purpose, a goal that I'm going to fight this, it did not bother me where I was anymore. And I kept reminding myself that I did not hear of anyone who died because he was sleeping on chairs or at the floor. It was tough, it was long, but I had a goal, and it was to tell the story of my people and how the system isn't working, and how the international law failed us as Syrian refugees.
social media played a significant role in you sharing your story. What sparked the idea that this simple tool will help you to deliver your story? And yeah, how did it change your life since then, when the second you opened up social media and you started documenting your life? And
It was
how did that lead you to write your book later as well?
it was a desperate solution.
Mm-hmm.
Social media. First, when I found myself trapped at the airport, I tried to reach out to NGOs, to United Nations, to Human Rights, Amnesty, all the NGOs, sometimes even to foreign embassies in Kuala Lumpur, public figures, tried everything, emailed everyone, but it did not work. And I found myself, I knew that, okay, I'm on my own. And that's when I decided to go to the social media just to tell the story. And if I'm going down, I'm not going without a fight, without telling my story. And that's why I went to the social media. From that point forward, it was not my personal story. It was the story of my people. That's why my first tweet was, what does it mean to be a Syrian? Because at that moment, I knew that the world is judging me because of my nationality, not because of my own crimes or mistake. It was not Hassan the individual, it was Hassan the Syrian. And that's why I went to social media. It was my window to the world, and I used the skills, as limited as they are, to tell my story, to be optimistic, not to complain, but to explain, not to sell the story, but to tell it. And I was trying, and that was my last solution.
It's been over 10 years, nearly coming up to 10 years since then, since you've left your country anyway. Has anything changed since then, the process to finding a new home and starting a new life, or is the experience still remaining the same for everyone who's still fleeing?
For the Syrians who are still behind, who are still there, yeah, it's still the same. It's more difficult because the Syrian war and the refugee crisis has been forgotten, and it's the cycle of the news where we have something else, so we will forget. We will not solve the old issues, but we will forget. We will ignore them, and we will move on. So for the Syrians, it's especially after the Ukrainian war, it's more difficult, and where people just give up after 11 years. Even people who could make a difference, like the people from the West or the media, it's an old news now. So it is more difficult now than before. For me, on a personal level, I think I'm one of the luckiest because I found my home. And I believe that refugees, we belong into two different worlds, two different cultures. And home is we where feel that we belong and we have a value as individuals, dignity, rights, and obligations. When I felt that here in Canada, I knew that uh, we have two countries, the one we gained by birth, which we love and we wish peace and happiness and success, and the one we choose to have as home and to belong to. And that's what Canada is for me.
So did you choose Canada? Is Canada where you've always wanted to come, or?
It was not at the airport. At the airport, Canada was not on my wildest, even in my wildest dreams, because I thought at that time that I don't have what it needs to come to Canada, and I did not know anyone in Canada. But they reached out to me when they heard my story on social media, and they offered help, and they were the only people, despite the fact that I was on the global news and in languages I did not even know that it's out there. Canadian were the only one who actually reached out with an actual, real, official documents to sign and to help me. So from that moment on, I knew I was connected to this land, and now after 4 years, I more than ever.
What's been making you feel most at home while you're in Canada? Is there a place you go? Is there a person you've met, or what makes you feel at home in Canada? I read a piece you wrote recently, actually, where you said you start off your mornings with a cup of Turkish coffee and songs of Fairuz. Was that your typical morning routine back in Syria as well, or is this a new habit?
That's
Yeah.
all the people in the Middle East, and I even created my home here, my own ward, my bubble, to look like exactly like home. The same smell of food, the Turkish coffee, the music. It's the reminder of my roots and the people I left behind. But on a personal level, because I understand that life is about priorities, and all what I was asking for is my minimum human rights as a human being, and to have a place where I can call home or be permanently safe and legal. And Canada gave me that all in one package. And it helped me even build a career now here in Canada. And but on a general note, it's the people, the Canadian people, who believe in diversity, calm people, polite most of the time, and they believe in diversity. They welcome everyone with open arm, where we embrace different cultures, different civilizations. So I think it's the people most of it.
Well, they say the happiest people are in Canada. They say Canadian people smile the best as well, so must be for a reason. Going back to your stay at the airport, because it's such a unique experience with its challenges. Because when I think of airports, I think it's the one place where you witness every emotions possible. You know, people cry, people laugh, people are being reunited, people are being separated, people are breaking down, people are in a rush, people are taking time. I'm wondering, is there anything you witnessed or a spectacle that has stuck to you, or a feeling you remember of after watching everything that's going on around you? What it made you feel, whether remembrance of your families or hopes of reuniting or having a destination to go to eventually.
It's what we call now these days after COVID, we call it now social distance. And I believe I witnessed social distance long before the world did. There was a time when a reporter from The Guardian visited me at the airport he wanted to write an article about me, and he could not find my place. So we end up in different sides of the glass wall. and he was taking up photos for me through the glass wall, so we could not even sit, and that was exactly what we call now social distance.
Yeah.
So it's the social distance for me, where everyone is in rush at the airport to get out or to get on the plane. People who are angry because their flight has been delayed for a couple of hours. It's fun when you look at it these days or at this moment. It's the people who used to look at me like a zoo animal, because I was in the news. So uh, I think it was, for me, it was hope and determination. And, once I found the purpose and the cause I was fighting for, it did not bother me anymore where I was, and I discovered that it's the journey who inspired others. It's not the distance, the destination. It's the journey, not the destination. And it's who we become while marching towards our dream is more important than the dream itself. So it changed me forever. Now I'm more calm, and nothing will surprise me anymore. I understand life differently. I am more slow, and I have more appreciation to the little things in life.
It's all about the moment now, isn't it? Enjoying the moment, the here and the now. Not anticipate what's going to happen in the future. Okay, and do you mind sharing? Obviously, you've been going after challenges after challenges after challenges, and experiencing the downsides of the countries you've ended up in as well. And you've seen the best, you've seen the worst, I'm guessing. What was the most challenging thing that you experienced, and how did you train yourself to navigate through it? And what was the lasting lesson you've learned from it?
It's There was a day at the airport where I woke up in the morning and I was just walking around like always. It was almost 10 a.m. in the morning at the airport, and that's when I knew that ISIS attacked my city the same day, and we lost 250 people. Most of them are women and children. And at that moment, I, for the first time, witnesses what does it mean to be absolutely powerless and hopeless. And you start wishing that all the Marvel movies are actually true, because you could fly back on time, or uh, pax yourself, or using an Iron Man suit or whatever, just to be there at that moment, to do what you can to help. So I think even words like hope or dream or love or desperation or powerless or power, voiceless, or I think we use them a lot, or even thank you. We use them a lot these days, so it becomes a figure of speech. We don't actually mean it sometimes. We don't understand what it means. And then when you face a situation where you hit the bottom or the lowest moment in your life, you will discover a new level of being hopeless, or even hope. So I think that's what I learned the most. It's to rediscover myself and rebirth.
Okay. I'm sorry you had to go through all that. I really am. What do you stay? I know you're with Canadian Red Cross now. What have you been doing with them? What have you been staying busy with them? And what have you been discovering about Canada through them? Or have you
Oh,
found
a
new
lot,
hobbies?
especially about British Columbia, a lot. I have been all over the place for the last 3 years, and but I left also spent more time in hotels than I spent in my own home for the last 3 years, all across the province, which is a big one. But I'm now working as a case manager in flood recovery department. I used to be an emergency care worker. helping with the vaccine, or collecting samples for COVID-19. Then for sometimes I was in HPSS supervisor, safety and well-being. But now I'm a case manager with flood recovery. We are trying to help communities who got affected by flood, which is great for me because it gives me the opportunity to pay back to the community who welcomed me and gave me a chance. So I think it's quite an experience. And but down the road, at the end, I would, because I am a former refugee and I will always be, the ultimate goal, dream is to work in a refugee camp somewhere in the near future. Now I have my passport and I will be able to travel, so I'm gonna seek that opportunity to go back to a refugee camp.
Okay. So reflecting on your experiences and, staying busy with the advocacy work that you're doing now as well, and helping others and giving back in the way that you are, what is it that you wish more people to know or be more educated about regarding the common Syrian refugee experience, and, based on your treatment, and what could have been different if just through the
That's why I wrote the book, because the media helped creating a stereotype, a pattern for the Syrians. So whenever you hear the word Syria now on the news, or refugees, the people's without fault of their own, that it will jump into refugee camp, unskilled people, people who are desperate for help, dirty kids, no schools, no health care, no hospitals, and a crisis, which is with a lot of tents and mud and situation and misery, where people will just distance themselves from such negativity. But that's why I wrote the book, because they never heard from us directly and knew who we really are. We are seeking asylum or help, yes, but to turn it into an opportunity, and how we are skilled people who could be an additional value to any community they live in, with skilled people who are capable of do a lot of things. To close the gap between the East and the West, and to build a bridge between our two cultures. And for me, to introduce them to a different, new type of racism. When people speak about racism, they define it with gender, color, race, religion. But I think there's a fifth type of racism, geographical one, to be born on the wrong side of the world. And that's your only crime, where you will be subjected to racism, segregation, discrimination, and even the system will not play fair with you. So just to educate people about who we really are, about the refugee crisis, and to teach them what they should do in the future.
Okay, Hassan. Well, thank you so much. You've added great insight to your experience. Is there anything you would like to add or share that maybe I haven't?
Thank you very much. That was great.
Okay.
Thanks for giving me the space to answer the questions.
No, thank you. And, I wish you the best of luck for your future and the new life you're creating in Canada, and, and keeping your roots and still celebrating that. So good luck.
Thank you.
And again, congratulations.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay, speak to you
Have a
soon.
great night. Bye-bye.
Take care. Thank you.
Bye.